So welcome to History Pub. In Cottage Grove we have a group that's a loose group of partners in history. They are the Cottage Grove Museum, the Cottage Grove Genealogical Society, the Cottage Grove Historical Society, Spirit of Bohemia Mining Days, Cottage Grove Library, Singing Creek Education Center, and the Oregon Aviation Historical Society. The Bohemia Mining Museum is also a partner in history, but they aren't sponsoring History Pub for 2025. Well, they didn't ask to be part of it, so, but you know, Dave is working with them on history, so that's really cool. But I do want to say that I want to thank Bart for this wonderful venue. I want to thank Seth for his audio-visual. And I want to thank Jim Lockhart for capturing these events on video, and then they're uploaded now to the CG Partners in History YouTube channel. And then I want to say something about the Sentinels. I've had a pitch before about digitizing more of the newspapers, and the last go around has finally all been uploaded, but they ran into this problem, and I don't know if you can see it from there, but the microfilm is oxidizing. Yes. And so it's really imperative that we get them digitized. And I was hoping that the representative from the Woodard Family Foundation would be here in time for this, but they currently have given another donation of $13,000 to digitize another almost 14,000 pages of the Sentinel, which will get us up to the last edition in 1973. And I am just so thankful for the Woodard Family Foundation. So I want to introduce Dave and Matt. Matt was born in Cottage Grove in 1995 and spent part of his childhood living at Camp Clearwalks, a Girl Scout camp near Florence. He later returned to his hometown and graduated from Cottage Grove High School in 2013. After high school, Matthew pursued his passion for photography and videography, launching a small business while also gaining experience in fields like construction, industrial painting, caregiving, and maintenance management. His dedication to community and leadership eventually led him to his current role as Executive Director of the Spirit of Bohemia Mining Days. Yay, Matt. And Dave is a fellow historian. He is the historian for the Diston Cold Creek area. And he was born in Eugene, and he come to Cottage Grove to live on his brother's ranch that is out up the Row River Valley. And so I just want you all to enjoy it tonight. I'm really looking forward to this, and it'll be great. Thank you, guys.
Can we get another round of applause for all the volunteers who make History Pub happen every month? Thank you. So as you heard, my name is Matthew Hewlett, and I'm the Executive Director of Spirit of Bohemia Mining Days. And I just want to make a public moment of appreciation for our sponsors, including the Woodard Family Foundation, Starfire Lumber, City of Cottage Grove, and many, many more. So big thanks to the community for allowing us to continue the tradition and preserve our heritage of Bohemia Mining Days. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys came here for some history tonight, is that right? So, the past couple of weeks and even months have been deep into research about what Bohemia Mining Days was, is, and will be. And you're in for a real treat tonight. So, some of you may not know this. Bohemia Mining Days first officially started in 1935. Now, at the time, it was called Bohemia Days, and it was about the people of the time remembering the nostalgia of their past and their parents' past. You know, people actually living up in the Bohemia Mining District doing lumber, mining, agriculture, all that stuff. It was the descendants of those people that brought it to life through the American Legion. It was a huge event. So it featured parades with miners, mules, floats, a dramatic reenactment of gold discovery, and you'll see right here, we have sheet music right here. And I want to take a quick moment to play you a song. We've seen the sheet music. I'm not that good. We've seen the sheet music over the last couple of months, and a couple of people in the community have recognized it, but nobody's heard it. So I had my friend who makes music with computer software create a current rendition of what this could have sounded like, not including the actual notes. So the notes were copyrighted already, but the song was written by Grant Foster. George Foster, I'm sorry. He was a decorated World War I veteran. Dave, grab that microphone. I'm going to need you to talk too. I can't hold up this whole thing. Alright, so we are going to very quickly show you this song because I think it's really cool, and honestly it captures our community spirit.
Bohemia days are here again. It's time to hook her up again.
Come on, y'all, you can dance.
Grow a set of whiskers grand. Bohemia days are coming again. Come on, partner, help it along. With lots of fun, but nothing wrong. Let us pan a little gold for fun. Bohemia days are coming again.
So, me personally, I really wanted to know what that sounded like. And I'd like to think that my friend did a really good job at giving it a modern spin. So, thanks to Ernie, if he's around. Moving along. So the Bohemia Days Festival in 1935 hosted around 5,000 people here in Cottage Grove.
That's back when Cottage Grove only had a population of about 1,200 people living here in town.
Could y'all hear that okay? I feel like my voice is going further than his. Cottage Grove only had around 1,200 people. And in a town with only 1,200 people in it, quintupled its capacity for one festival. That's incredible. That's insane. The event at the time raised funds for child welfare, Boys and Girl Scouts, the Red Cross efforts, and local charities and community services. All in thanks to the American Legion of 1935. It also featured military drills and music by the Corvallis Legion Drum Corps, old-time mining equipment, street dancing and community festivities, and it kicked off with a large indoor celebration at the Armory, including the parade, which obviously was not in the Armory. This event really sparked the beginning of our town's heritage and love for it through community engagement. So this is something I don't actually know a whole lot about, and I'd be open to anyone knowing anything about the 1949 event, but I have found two pictures here. There was supposedly a parade in 1949. Was it Bohemia Days? Was it a Days of 49 event? Because apparently that was also a thing. The reality is we don't know, but I don't know, but what we do know is that car right there supposedly had 500 carpet squares on it. Now think about it, that's kind of a fun feat. Would you personally make the time to make a parade float out of 500 carpet squares? Anyway, this event is proof that the spirit of Bohemia Days lived in Cottage Grove, throughout the decades. Now the true the true start for Bohemia Days was actually in 1955. This was a 10-day spectacle honoring Cottage Grove's centennial. Cottage Grove had turned 100 years old at this point, and it featured the 4th of July, parade, fireworks, community-wide activities, and obviously, because our town has an Old West theme throughout the whole thing, folks dressed up in their best centennial gear and came out and participated in the festivities. One of the notable things was the beard and mustache contest of the time. That is the Helena Saloon. As far as I know, that specific photo was taken in the current book mine, to the best of my knowledge. But it hosted all sorts of fun events during the festival. And even early as 1955, it was called Bohemia Mining Days Festival. But that picture on the side there, and I don't know how well if you can read it, but it basically says that was advertising for the beard contest that was happening that year. There was a button and beard contest. You either had to have a button, which I think was on the previous slide. So all of these buttons were numbered. You either had to have one of these or grow a beard, and you wouldn't get fined and be thrown in the vigilantes jail. Obviously, the 1955 event was a hit. Huge success. But it broke even. As with most, things like this do, with good management. No large event followed the next year, but this event truly is what laid the groundwork for Bohemia Mining Days to officially start in 1959. This fellow right here is Ray Nelson. Now, if you guys don't know who that is, Ray was the Dave of 1959. Ray was a fantastic historian regarding the Bohemia Mining District and really just Cottage Grove in general. I've read somewhere his notebook was 8 inches thick. Can you imagine a notebook that big? I can't. I don't know why he didn't pick up another notebook. So in 1959, Ray started the Prospectors Club, which is now currently called the Prospectors and Gold Diggers Club. Their club motto inspired preservation efforts beyond the festival and helped save Bohemia City from collapse, essentially. And with also the relocation of the Dr. Snap House from its original location to its current location on Row River Road.
So real quick, their club motto is prospecting better things for Cottage Grove.
Prospecting better things for Cottage Grove. That, I really feel like, holds our town's spirit in it. So, the Prospectors Club, with Ray Nelson in charge, leads the charge for creating Bohemia Mining Days. Although I do believe they called it Bohemia Days originally. Information conflicts on that, but at this point I would say that's true, especially with Cindy's approval down there. If y'all couldn't hear that, she said Bill Whiteman put the mining in Bohemia Mining Days. A former mayor. Dave, did you want to talk about these two pictures right here?
Yeah, so some of the things that the prospectors and gold diggers used to do back in the day is they'd go up to the old Bohemia City and surrounding area up there on the mountain, and they would rebuild historic buildings such as these. This is the old post office for the music mine, known as Bohemia City. And then next to it is Alec Lundberg's stage house that he had up there at Bohemia City, and that was a boarding house and a staging house for horse teams to come to and from the mountain.
Is it true that the Music Mine Post Office was also a grocery store and something else?
Yes, it was also a grocery store and a small room and board for anyone that wanted to stay there.
It really mimics our economy of today, where we have businesses and people piling into one central location. Back to Ray Nelson. So this photo of Ray was actually taken by the Cottage Grove Sentinel. I don't remember what year. But Ray donated the Bohemia Saddle and Fairview Mountain Peak to Lane County. And as far as I know, and as far as what I've read through this history, Bohemia Saddle and Fairview Peak are the highest county parks in Lane County.
In fact, Lane County's only high alpine park.
That's true. It's written right here. I should know. 6,000 feet. Oh my gosh. Well, there's a reason that there's snow on one side of the mountain all year. So the Prospectors Club at the time, they transported this cart throughout parades all over Oregon. And I learned today that I think the cart is still on their saloon parade float that they tow in the Bohemia Mining Days and Crestwell 4th of July parade. So that cart is still there. The Miners' Breakfast on the Mountain. So this, I want to make it clear, this is a prospector and gold diggers event. A lot of folks will ask us, are you guys having the breakfast on the mountain? And yeah, as far as I know, but it's not actually our event. The prospectors and gold diggers are the ones that put that on, and they do so much work to get all of the supplies up there to be able to feed thousands of people every year. Really, truly incredible what they do as far as going into terrain that is not good for your car. Dave and I went up to the Bohemia Mining District recently, and we encountered all the same struggles they encountered 100 years ago, where we had overheating engines and smoking brakes. And so be careful which road you go up and go down.
Especially the hard scrabble.
But in 1964, the prospectors and gold diggers established this popular breakfast. The goals were to simulate a breakfast from one of the early mining camps at the time of our heritage in this community. It's been a generational tradition since 1964. Each year, their menu features an all-you-can-eat flapjacks with a secret ingredient. Don't tell anyone. I've heard it's vanilla. I might have just made that up too, I don't know. Ham, egg, OJ, and coffee. Runs from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. I highly encourage you, if you haven't been, or if you haven't been recently, you should absolutely go and support the Prospectors and Gold Diggers, because they're a fantastic organization, and they're continuing to do one of the things that is part of our heritage and our traditions. In 1968, the Lematite Gang was formed. This was Isaac Hoyer that had the idea to put the Lematite Gang together, and through the collaboration of 15 Prospectors Club members, they partnered with the Cottage Grove Riding Club to stage a train robbery. And who here remembers the Blue Goose? Has anyone ridden the Blue Goose? There we are. I love that. I really would love to ride it, but it's a little beyond my time. The goal was obviously slow and steady around the lake, having a good time. The Lematite Gang returns to BMD. So, for Bohemia Mining Days' 60th anniversary, the Diamond Jubilee, the Lematite Gang came back together. They actually disbanded officially in 2003, but they came back together through the effort of Mayor Jeff Gowing. He got the club back together and were able to participate in the parade at Bohemia Mining Days for its 60th anniversary. That said, rumors say a new gang might be coming to Bohemia City this year. We'll see. In the late 60s, the Prospectors and Gold Diggers Club split with the Bohemia Mining Days Committee. So on July 19th, 1962, the Bohemia Days Committee, Inc. was formed by Ray Nelson through the Prospectors and Gold Diggers Club. In the late 1960s, they were a little stretched thin trying to run two events. You can imagine having thousands of people coming to one location and another would stretch a volunteer-based club pretty thin. So in the late 1960s, prospectors and gold diggers decided to focus solely on the breakfast as far as Bohemia Mining Days is concerned, and the Bohemia Days Committee separated fully to manage the festival. In the 60s, mid-60s, the Queen's Court was established by BMD Committee President Bill Whiteman. The first queen was Amelia Donovan, now Blowers, who served for 2 years. Carolyn Cutts, now Rippey, followed her. They were invited back for the 2017 Grand Miners Parade and as Grand Marshals, and returned in 2019 to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee. Unfortunately, the tradition for Queen's Courts ended in the 80s, but who knows, we might be able to bring it back. The only governor, this happened in the 60s, the only governor to ever attend Bohemia Mining Days was this fella right here, Governor Hatfield. He joined Bohemia Mining Days in 1966 and rode in the parade. Cool little tidbit there. So the 1970s, and for what it's worth, Bohemia Mining Days currently is taking a lot of inspiration from the ingenuity that happened in the 1970s. Obviously, the crowd favorites continued to exist, like the Grand Miners Parade, the Limeti Gang Jail. But Henry Isaacs hosted the Western States Fast Draw Championship in 1976, which, gosh, I would love for that to come back. I think that is so cool. Think about that. You know, that is a tradition that is based in the Old West, but it's all just good fun. It's all just good fun. I would love to see that come back. In the 70s, the late 70s, 1977 specifically, Bohemia Mining Days buttons became collectible. They started producing only a limited quantity, and when all those sold, if there was any left over, they were instructed to destroy the rest. That way, any Bohemia Mining Days buttons would retain value and become collectible throughout the years. On some level, we're still continuing that tradition. I personally don't have a single button from last year, apart from the one on the board. Throughout the 70s, the culture grew. The art show became an annual staple in the 70s. It did stop at some point, I don't know when. But antique aircraft displays all weekend, a Candyland circus at Jefferson School, steam train rides on the Goose, and the fast draw shootouts with Henry Isaacs. The 70s were the time to go be at Bohemia Mining Days, I think. In the 70s, we had Jerry Lewis in the parade, and alongside the national poster child for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, Scotty Swift. All right, this is a shameful moment. Who is Jerry Lewis? Well, in its 66-year history, the 70s were what initiated our the Marshals of Bohemia City. There's a word that I'm missing. Henry Isaacs became the first Marshal of Bohemia City, and he served for something to the effect of 35 years as Marshal over Bohemia City. In the 80s, we see things get bigger, bolder, and sweeter. A couple of these here. I've never experienced a frog jumping competition, but I think that sounds like a good time. We also saw things like the cookie contest, the tea contest, and all of the favorites of Bohemia Mining Days happen throughout these years. In 1982, over 1,000 runners competed in the BMD half marathon. That's a lot. I don't know about you guys, but competing against 1,000 other people in a half marathon, I don't want to run a block, let alone a half marathon. In 1983, Herb Bloomfield donated real gold for panning demos and the Helena Saloon revived with root beer and can-can dancing. I want to make it clear, the panning demos at Bohemia Mining Days do still feature real gold. The Bohemia Mine Owners Association bring pay dirt for all the kids and anyone who want to come participate, and there is real gold in all that pay dirt that the kids are panning through, and as well as a fun, agates and gems and all that fun stuff. The 80s, Doyle Hicks, I believe, was the president of Bohemia Mining Days at the time, and the button tradition continued. In fact, I believe they didn't remake buttons, but they did honor Bohemia Mining Days historical figures throughout the 80s, including Ray Nelson, Bill Bartell, Donna Allen, and a few others. There's a couple others on the board back at the office. In the 1990s, growth, tradition, and tough decisions. So in the 90s, we see the creation of the senior court, which, Cindy, that was people that had been previous queens, or was that?
It was in conjunction with the senior center.
In conjunction with the senior center. I love that. That's a fantastic idea. Obviously, Bohemia City expanded. The goal with every festival every year, despite the decade, is to create a welcoming environment for people to come and enjoy. The kitty parades prospered, beard contest, miners breakfast, all happened, including another art show. But in the early 90s, Bohemia Mining Days took a hit. They found themselves without a home, and they were looking to be on school property, that empty field east of Cottage Grove High School, I believe. I don't actually know. Regardless of where it was, the school board decided they could not host any Bohemia Mining Days activities, and the reason was they didn't think that they could control citizens from smoking at the carnival, which is understandable. But due to a generous offer from Alex Madonna, they were able to relocate to the property south of the fire station currently, that is now tiny homes? I don't know what to call those. Hayden Homes. And that was where Bohemia Mining Days lived for quite a while. The old Chambers Mill site. That's right. I had that somewhere and I didn't write it down. The early 2000s featured a reality check for Bohemia Mining Days with debts hitting over $90,000. Between the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Cottage Grove, they told the Bohemia Mining Days Committee, you have three options: dissolve the organization, find an angel to help you, or continue without city or chamber help. And I've not actually found the resolution for that, but I do believe it was a financial angel that came through and helped save Bohemia Mining Days, because they continued to prosper throughout the early 2000s. On October 27, 2006, the Bohemia Days Committee, Inc. officially became Bohemia Mining Days Incorporated in the Oregon Business Registry. It was being called that well before this point, but that is when they officially changed the name, as early as 2006. I want to take a moment to talk about Sharon Jean. Sharon Jean was the BMD president between 2001 and 2009. At the time, she was a very successful businesswoman, and she really pulled Bohemia Mining Days out of its pit that it had dug itself into. She came along, and through her leadership and her guidance, saved Bohemia Mining Days from destruction. Sharon currently lives in Hawaii, but still takes a phone call from us every now and then when we have a reason to call her. She did come out of retirement in 2012 to help manage another financial crisis, and she was one of our festival advisors for the Spirit of BMD 2024 event. In the late 2000s, after serving 35 years, Marshall Henry hung up his guns and passed his badge over to Cottage Grove Mayor Gary Williams. Gary kept the peace in Bohemia City for 9 years, between 2008 and 2016. And at the opening ceremony of BMD 2017, Marshall Gary passed the honor to CG City Councilor Bob Ehler. I don't know how many of you knew Bob, but I want to take a moment to say he was a fantastic fellow. I had met him as a young man. He was building bikes for kids that needed help in the community, and he was active throughout the community. He really took his marshal role seriously as far as his character and the fun that he would have within his role. The early 2010s. Tradition thrives, but new ideas are on the rise. So Jake Boone joins the board and becomes president between 2011 and 2014. Jake Boone was our assistant city manager here in Cottage Grove for the last, I don't know when he held that title. But he's a fantastic fellow with a lot of really good ideas that really keep things cost effective. And that is why he created the Slabtown versus Limeti feud games. Alright, what is Slabtown's real name? Does anyone know? Go ahead and shout it out. That's right, Cottage Grove. Slabtown was the slang name they gave that town back in the late 1800s because they had to rebuild the slabs from the floods, from what I hear, anyway.
Actually, I heard it was because of the slabs, shiplap slabs they would lay down on the sidewalks back in the day, like they did in many old western towns.
See, how pompous of those Limeti folk to think wooden sidewalks just aren't cool, alright? That said, 2011 featured a serious financial strain after 2 days of money was washed out due to rain. But Jake came together and really kept things moving with forward momentum in a way that helped Bohemia Mining Days thrive. This pretty much just goes over the same thing I just described. Bohemia Mining Days is on a shoestring budget, and it always has been. The 2011 rain washed out 2 days of revenue. But he organized lots of classic Americana games that really bring character into Bohemia Mining Days. The late 2010s, we had multiple record years of attendance for the parade during these years. Continued classics like the Bloomers Parade, the Carnival, the Mountain Breakfast, reenactments, and vendor markets. But behind the scenes, organizers struggled with a bare-bones budget and growing volunteer burnout. I imagine many of you can empathize that volunteers are hard to come by these days, and if you can get them, they're hard to retain because volunteering is a burnout machine if you don't have more than enough people to accommodate all the needs. Cindy Wheeldryer, one of our fabulous guests over here.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Cindy has spent a quarter of a century helping Bohemia Mining Days. She's been on 17 Bohemia Mining Days teams, at least as of 2019. I might not have updated that number.
Long time.
She's been around for a long time, and she has a true love for Bohemia Mining Days. She really helped the festival prosper by being a go-getter out in the community, getting around people, getting to people and letting them know what's going on with not just the festival, but everything that's going on in Cottage Grove, and making people feel pride in their community through involvement, essentially. She helped create the Bohemia City Players in 2014, a historical treasure hunt in 2016, and the Covered Bridge Tours in 2017, and served as festival coordinator from 2015 until 2021? That's correct. See, it's helpful that she's in the audience because I have to fact check myself. That said, in 2020, we encountered a tragic loss. Bob Ehler served as Bohemia City Marshal from 2016 until his passing, complications from cancer on May 10th of 2020. At the ripe age of 67, he could not walk the streets of Bohemia anymore. But that goes into what happened in 2020, the first ever festival cancellation. Is it divine? I don't know. But COVID put everything to a halt. The entire country was put to a halt. And at the time I was working in healthcare, and let me tell you, if I never have to put on another mask, I'd be grateful. But health restrictions made a festival, planning it, basically impossible. And 2020 was unable to continue due to government restrictions at the time. The thing is, everything from 2020, COVID really put a serious impact on every industry. 1 year of not being able to have sustainable economic value really dug all industries into a bit of a pit. 2020 was not the last, was it the last? I think it was the last year we had, 2019 would have been the last year we had a carnival. And one of the reasons for that is because the carnival companies couldn't survive the pandemic. A lot of them sold off half to 3/4 of their assets, some shut down entirely, and the few that remained were able to sustain themselves through long-term contracts, but a lot of them did not survive 2020. 2021 marked the return to downtown roots with a modest community-powered festival. So I was a vendor in 2021, and that was the first year we had our jail cell. Thanks to Ken Roberts for finding that for us. Actually, it was donated to us through Ken Roberts by the WOE, and prior to them, by a church. So it was very cool and neat that came through. But that was such a hot year. I don't know about you guys, but I was standing on that tarmac on that asphalt for 10, 12 hours each day. I melted the soles off my boots. I'm not even kidding. They were trash after that year. But 2021 did feature a new beloved favorite for the time, the ore cart races, which were a huge hit. No carnival or big budget, but 2021 really brought Bohemia Mining Days back to its roots on some level. 22 and 23 brought cautious expansion, more vendors, stage acts, improved parade routes, but the problem remained. Leadership remained uncertain with volunteer burnout and planning gaps behind the scenes. But community nostalgia did keep Bohemia Mining Days alive.
Matthew?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to tell y'all that there would have never been a 2021 without Don Williams. Don was the one that brought us back with no money, and he did his thing and called in a lot of markers from a lot of us, and he was kind of the spark that helped me pull it together in 2021.
Remind me, what years did Don serve as president?
He served in the late 80s, and then he came back as president in 2020, right before we had to shut everything down.
That's incredible. Big shout out to Don Williams, who also was a festival advisor for BMD 2024, or SBMD 2024, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. But in early 2021, the BMD board decided they needed to fill their Marshall boots, given Bob Ehler had a whole year of mourning as far as BMD goes. Ken Roberts was asked to be the Bohemia City Marshal, and at the time was a Cottage Grove City Councilor. He served from 2021 until 2022, I believe. Sworn in by Cottage Grove Municipal Judge Martin Fisher, who also swore in our fabulous marshal here. So, when Ken moved on to his dream home in Eastern Oregon, the BMD board asked Christina Hester if she would be Bohemia Mining Days' first ever female marshal. She was a lovely lady. She absolutely went out of her way to build the website during 2023, was an active volunteer, really took pride in her role as Bohemia City Marshal. But due to personal reasons and other things, she stepped down in 2023 to go off and do her own regular business ventures, as far as I know. 2024, the revival, restructure, and renewal. So after BMD Inc. announced the festival's cancellation, me and my buddy Jeremy got together and we wanted to make sure that the tradition stayed alive. And at first, we were just gonna have a cute little flea market in the park. We were going to get as many vendors as we could, sit the jail cell up in the middle of the park and just see what happened. Well, I put in for the permit, and then Cindy Wheeldryer called me about 30 minutes later. And she said, let's get the band back together and make it a real thing. And I would like to think that Spirit of BMD in 2024 really gave the Bohemia Mining Days tradition what am I trying to say? It did a really good job of doing the thing that it was supposed to do. But there's a better word for that.
Gave it a little pick-me-up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm talking too much. I need you to pick. Spirit of BMD did not officially incorporate until late in 2024. It was just an effort to keep the festival alive, but when Bohemia Mining Days Inc. closed its doors, we were able to, through the efforts and help of the Woodard Family Foundation, establish ourselves as a proper 501c3 nonprofit here in Cottage Grove. For the 24 event, we asked Ken Roberts to come back. I also asked Christina Hester, but she was busy and she couldn't make it. But Ken Roberts drove all the way from his home in Eastern Oregon to reprise his role as the Bohemia City Marshal and came and did his thing at Bohemia Mining Days. But due to the drive, it's a 20-hour drive for him. Due to the ride, and he's not a local anymore, he wanted to pass the torch to Dave Light here. And he recruited Dave as his deputy in 2024. See, that is worth applause, I think, because Dave, of all the people we could have had marshal for this year, Dave is absolutely deserving of the title. With all of his history and his dedication to the community, it's incredible. So, post Spirit of BMD 24, we started launching our revitalized brand. You see our logo here. We've established things to, certain things that you can buy and really identify with as a brand to help us keep sustainable. We became a 501c3 nonprofit. BMD Inc. formally closed its doors. I feel like I said some of this already. One of the things we've really been working hard to do is establish strong partnerships with other local organizations, such as the Oddfellows, the Historic Society, the Gold Mining Museum, the Genealogical Society, Partners in History, SBA, and many, many others. We're really trying to recreate that this festival and our organization is everyone everyone's festival and organization. This is about Cottage Grove. This isn't ours. This is about the community. So we're trying to get as many folks as we can get involved. And if you'd like to get involved, there's a slide for that later, but by all means, send me an email. Dave took his role as ceremonial, that was the word I was looking for, our ceremonial marshal. Dave took his role in March of 25 as our 6th marshal. So in 66 years of Bohemia Mining Days history, Dave is only the 6th marshal ever in its existence. And he also was sworn in by Judge Martin Fisher. And as you can see by this photo here, we had quite the group of folks dressed up down in City Hall, including Judge Martin Fisher in his powdered wig. All authentic for the time, or as close as it could be.
And a few rabble-rousers too, as you can see by that stick of dynamite.
Yeah, they're sitting right there just waiting to do something devious. So looking forward about what Bohemia Mining Days is going to be and what Spirit of Bohemia Mining Days is going to be, we really want to return the organization and the festival to Ray Nelson's roots. Ray Nelson was a fantastic entrepreneur and businessman here in town. He served in city government, as well as was just a positive light in the community. And a lot of his ideas really rang as something that our town needs. Preserving Cottage Grove's identity and showing its citizens that we can have an identity in the mining district as well as our roots. So on top of mining, we now champion the full heritage of the region: mining, timber, agriculture, and community tradition, as well as other efforts with BIPOC groups, indigenous, to try and really show the world that we aren't just about one certain type of person. We're about everyone that exists here in Cottage Grove in its entire history. We've established programs like the Bohemia. Thank you. You guys are so cool. You know what? I would feel bad if y'all didn't clap, so please continue. Thank you. We've established a couple of programs. So our Bohemia City Leaders program is our high school-ish age program to really give kids the confidence in their leadership skills, as well as really just hands-on work-related skills. If there's one thing our high schoolers and our older youth of today need, that's confidence in themselves and the ability to know that they can lead other people and they can take charge and really make things happen, because without them doing it, who's going to? As well, our Future Bohemia City Citizens program, which is our Little Kid program, where we introduce history and these same leadership aspects through play. We try and give kids the opportunity to engage in some of our heritage and tradition in a way that they can really understand, and that's through play.
So Matthew, is that one of the ones we're partnered with Singing Creek to do?
That is one of the ones we're partnered with Singing Creek to do. Also, on March 23rd, what month is it? No, May. On May 23rd, we are having the Kids Heritage Fair at the Family Relief Nursery, which is our first big event of this program to really give kids a fun and interesting way to learn history. So at the Family Relief Nursery on 14th Street, just north of Safeway, we've partnered with that organization to be able to host a little mini BMD that's really more about education, crafts, and fun than the entire atmosphere of Bohemia Mining Days. But this is one of many efforts that we're trying to do to introduce kids to our heritage and our culture in a fun way for them. So I hope to see you all there on May 23rd, because apparently I don't know what month it is. A couple other things we're doing. We've established that so prior to doing this, I was in senior living as a maintenance worker and a caregiver for about 7 years. And I have a true passion and love for our aging community. So one of the things I've been doing every month is I've been going to our senior living communities, and I'll have Dave send me a story from Diston or Culp Creek or Cottage Grove or anywhere, because usually I'm terrible at planning on some things. So last minute I'm like, Dave, I need a story really quick, and he's right there. But I'll go over to the senior living communities and I'll engage with the people that are there, talk with them about some of their childhood memories. I'll tell them the story that I have prepared, and I'll just engage with them throughout the story in a similar way that I'm doing to you guys now, but a little more interactive. We've also established the Mining Vault podcast and video series. So one of the things I've noticed and I wanted to make improvements on is really getting with the digital market as far as Bohemia Mining Days is concerned. So I would like to see our heritage and our culture be recognized nationally, not just within Cottage Grove. It'll always be about us, but I think people from all over the country should know about the wonderful culture and heritage we have here. So we've established the Mining Vault, which is a podcast now available on Spotify. We record once a week at this point. Bradley Shepard, also in our audience, is helping me out with it a little bit. We have community guests that come in and engage with whatever the topic is. And I've always been a fan of talk shows, but to put it simply, we tie in a little bit of history, and then we have our guest is typically someone who's doing something in the community. And we'll talk about what that is and what they're doing and how their stuff is affecting the community, and tie it all back to whatever our historic topic is, as well as just, getting off topic and going on tangents and, how a good conversation goes. Easy listening though, good for the drive to work and all that. We have not expanded fully into the video side of things yet, but we are doing more things underneath the Mining Vault name, as far as like fun videos on social media, and we're expanding into classes about how to do certain aspects like gold panning or identifying certain herbs in the forest that are edible, or things that are based historically about our heritage, but also are valuable skills now for today. So in its 66 years, Bohemia Mining Days has had a wonderful bunch of leadership teams. This is only a couple photos. The bottommost one was a group photo from last year's group. The one continuous trend about all the Bohemia Mining Days leadership is always that failure is not an option with Bohemia Mining Days. Folks that love this town. Here's a list of some notable past leaders, listing a lot of the names that I've mentioned earlier. So now we are getting into the part of the presentation that is about what is Bohemia Mining Days. We're starting off with the feud because that's the order it fell in on some level. As you can see, we have all sorts of fun Americana-based events for kids and even grown-ups to participate in. I just want to mention this year we've partnered with the Oddfellows Hall, who's actually doing really well on their youth engagement efforts as far as I can tell. But we've partnered with them to run the feud games this year. And we're hoping to do that with more organizations as we grow. Couple of fun photos from past years: the pie eating, the wheelbarrow races, the tug of war, needle in a haystack, I think. I don't actually know what that one is.
Matthew, the scissor one there on the tug of war?
Yes.
That was from 2012, and we borrowed a rope, but it was
Well, that would explain it. Was it a tiebreaker? So, historically, the hair contest. So there used to be the untamely beard, the stately beard, and the hairy leg competition. For the past couple years, I've been doing the beard and mustache contest, and due to lack of engagement, I did away with the hairy leg contest, but if there's interest, I'll bring it back. That said, as far as this year, I'm not entirely sure what our categories are going to be yet. Dave just offered today to spearhead that, so big thank you. As well as our costume contest. Historically, the three categories were men, women, and children, and I don't see any reason to change that now.
And we're really trying to push for more costumes at the Spirit of BMD festival too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Please, dress up, wear a cowboy hat. You don't have to get up in all this. You can put on a nice vest and a hat and just fit in. There's a couple of folks in here that look like you're almost ready for BMD. Historically, the Feud Games also featured a pie eating contest, and that is something we're working on bringing back. I don't know if it'll happen yet this year, but we will see. I also want to point out that fellow over there. I didn't put him there. He just happened to be there in this presentation. But that's my cousin Nick, really winning at his. I don't think he won. The mining theme contest, Digging in the Dark, Fuse Winder, 20 miles by a wheelbarrow, and Candlestick Run. You know, for the past couple of years, I've been a vendor at Bohemia Mining Days, and now I'm running it. And I'd really like to go participate in these things. Some of these sound like a lot of fun. So historically, and including today, but a little bit different, historically, Bohemia Mining Days has featured 3 parades. Typically the Bloomers Parade, the Kitty Parade, and the Grand Miners Parade. The Bloomers Parade was introduced in 2007 as a fun kickoff to start the festival. The Ladies Only Parade was designed to honor the women who fought for women's rights and suffrage. They use the word suffrage in their verbiage. I forget why though. Due to low participation, in 2012 to 2014, it did not happen. There is a meeting coming up very soon to see if the Bloomers Parade can happen again this year, but it will likely be in the Grand Miners Parade. So hopefully we can make that happen. The Kitty Parade, which has been an annual event since 1959, typically featured kids, pets, and there was another thing, wasn't there? Parents, kids, pets, and parents. I thought there was a third thing, my apologies. This year, it is going to be happening on Saturday, not Friday. And this year it is going to be in combination with the Little Mr. and Mrs. Bohemia City contest this year, who Zonnie Borg has come to help organize once again. The Grand Miners Parade. If you would like to participate in the parade, now is the perfect time to use this QR code and scan it if you want. If not, you don't have to. I think these go toward, I don't know. That said, you can find all of the information to get signed up for the Grand Miners Parade and volunteering and vendors on the spiritofbmd.com website. Cowboy Buck. Does anyone know who Cowboy Buck is? Buck and Elizabeth. Couple of hands, there we go. I've heard that our community loves Cowboy Buck, and we have managed to get Cowboy Buck to come back this year and MC Bohemia Mining Days, along with his fun kid games that he'll be doing. That said, his wife Elizabeth, I don't think will be able to join us this year, maybe next year, but Cowboy Buck is certainly coming back. Bohemia Mining Days features live music from all sorts and all different flavors, though we do try and keep the theme to bluegrass, country, and rock. You see that we, in 1955, had the Far West Old Time Fiddlers Contest, and then several other live musics. It's one of the big staples of the festival. If you've been to Bohemia Mining Days, I think you've heard the music. Bohemia Mining Days features a rich cultural offering, including the antique hit-and-miss steam engines, Native American dancers, Bohemia City Players themed play, the historical fashion show, the costume contest, the historical treasure hunt, which we're hoping to bring back this year. I've got one of our leadership team, in fact our board president, is currently writing us a script for the historical treasure hunt. This year we will be featuring fur trapping education thanks to the Singing Creek Educational School. And the Bohemia Mine Owners Association always coming in clutch, panning for real gold. As you all may or may not know, the facade walls that come up every year take time. It takes nearly a full week to put all that together through a whole handful of volunteers, and then you've only got a day and a half to bring it all down. City of Cottage Grove has really helped us every year by making sure the park is prepped and by aligning all the things that could be potentially broke if we weren't being careful, and really just going above and beyond as far as their effort and support goes. Spouses and volunteers pitch in for sponsor signage, buildings go up, portable toilets roll in, and the electrical infrastructure are installed. And then Sunday morning, first thing, 7 a.m., the teardown crew kicks into gear.
Just in time for the breakfast.
Just in time for the breakfast. Well, that's right. That said, if you guys didn't know, it takes more than 100 volunteers to make Bohemia Mining Days happen every year. Due to how volunteers are, sometimes that's more, sometimes that's less, and people have to wear many hats. But our volunteer coordinator, Sylvia Kitterman, has led the effort since 2018. She took a couple years off, I don't know which, but she is back with us from her previous service before, and is making sure that all of our volunteers are well taken care of. If you would like to volunteer at Bohemia Mining Days, please join the crew. It's not built by magic, it's built by people like you. Whether you've got tools, time, or just a good attitude, we've got a spot for you on the team. You may ask yourself, why should you volunteer? I just came to try and learn some history. I don't give a darn. I'm kidding. Because it's your town, it's your festival, and it's your legacy. And we guarantee good company, snacks, and the satisfaction of keeping a great tradition alive. We have plenty of roles available. You can scan there to be taken to the volunteer spot, or you can check it out at spiritofbmd.com. You too can sell your wares at BMD. Same deal. You can either follow the QR code, or you can head over to spiritofbmd.com and become a vendor. I want to take a quick moment to mention something I didn't plan for. We've taken a different approach to how we're doing vendors this year. Obviously, everyone is welcome. We encourage our entire community to come be invested in their town festival, but we really want to put a highlight on history and heritage vendors. If you have a skill or a service or a craft that is historical and heritage based, we want to put you right in front. First thing people see when they come into the park, because I want the heritage and the culture of our community to be the first thing people see when they come into Bohemia Mining Days. And as well, we'll have all sorts of all different kinds of vendors throughout the park, but if you've got something historic and heritage based, I'd love to have you there. Big thank you, again, I said this in the beginning, but big thank you to our sponsors. The Spirit of Bohemia Mining Days operates on an annual budget of $150,000. And for 66 years, it's been the unwavering generosity of our sponsors that has kept this beloved tradition alive. Big thank you, once again, to the Woodard Family Foundation, Starfire Lumber, City of Cottage Grove, and a growing list of other sponsors. That comes with all sorts of perks, and if you would like to become a sponsor for Bohemia Mining Days, we happen to have papers that you can take home with you. Linda, our treasurer, has the sponsor forms if you'd like to help sponsor us. And to mimic what Dave said earlier, come dress up. Let's be immersed in this event. Get your cowboy gear on, wear a pirate costume, I don't care. Just come have fun. Come be immersed in the environment, enjoy yourself, and really live like it's 1899. And you might even see Bigfoot there. So mark your calendars. Bohemia Mining Days is always on the third weekend of July right here in Cottage Grove. This year it is on July 17th, 18th, and 19th in Coiner Park.
And the Miners' Breakfast will be on Sunday. You know.
And the Miners' Breakfast is on Sunday at Bohemia Park. Yes, go ahead.
Shout out for the chicken barbecue. Roger got into the parade. Hot in the parking lot of Trinity Lutheran Church.
That's right. Don't forget about the chicken barbecue at Trinity Lutheran Church. Thank you. Right after the parade. So, to end the presentation, and then we'll get into the trivia, that is the Mining Vault logo. Recognize that if you go look for us on Spotify. Stay connected by following us at spiritofbmd.com on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. We also have a blog on the website if that's more your style, so you can stay up to date that way. Keep the tradition alive. If you'd like to donate, this QR code right here will take you to our donate page on the website, and you can pay with a debit or credit card through PayPal. Thank you all for listening to me talk for the last hour or so.